At the center of this story, you have 33-year-old Bryn Speecher, which is a woman living in California, and her life took a very strange turn back in 2018. She'd been dating a guy by the name of Chad O'Melia for a few weeks, and one night she's hanging with him at his apartment in Thousand Oaks. And while there, they both take hits from a bong loaded with marijuana. And while Chad just kind of got regular high, Bryn reportedly blasted off into what experts call cannabis-induced psychosis. Or in other words, like she became delusional, fearing that she was dead, hearing voices that told her that she needed to kill Chad to survive. And so she grabbed multiple knives and she stabbed him. Not once, not 3 times, 108 times. With her also then going on to stab her own dog. And when cops arrived at the apartment, they found Chad dead, Bryn screaming hysterically, and then she turned the weapon on herself. The officers then rushing to stop her. They used batons and a taser. While initially, prosecutors had charged her with murder. A few days before the trial last fall, they downgraded that to involuntary manslaughter. Right? And that decision drew massive backlash from Chad's family and their supporters, with them even protesting outside the courthouse. And Chad's father telling News Nation during the trial,
in her testimony, that everything was about her. Me. I can't count how many times I heard her say me. Now, I realize this is not good for her or her family either. But there is a victim here, and she is not the victim.
Reportedly, Bryn did actually apologize to him in the courtroom while sobbing. But then all of that late last month led to a jury finding her guilty of the involuntary manslaughter charge. And while that meant she faced up to 4 years in prison, the judge handed down a sentence yesterday that elicited an audible shock from the courtroom. Bryn got 0 prison time, instead getting just 2 years on probation and 100 hours of community service.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. No prison time for that? Ooh, wow. I mean, like, wow. I don't know what to say about that. It feels like, to me, every time I hear stuff like this, and she just got off with 108 times in a before we really get into this, I just gotta say, like, I wonder how the jury finds everyone guilty. The prosecutors have the evidence. There's the whole thing about him getting 108 times, and the judge is like, probation. Oh, wow. But anyways, well, of course you guys saw the clip, but in case you really aren't understanding what's going on, I'm just going to give you guys a little bit quick rundown. So essentially, this woman had stabbed her boyfriend over 100 times while she was in a marijuana-induced state, or like her mind was basically not in the right place. And then, she actually, tried to stab her. Well, she stabbed herself as well after killing him on the scene, and that's where it is. So before we go into this, I'm actually going to use a quick article just to get to the finer details, because I kind of breezed through the story initially, but I'm actually going to take a bit of a closer read into it, and then we'll talk about it. Anyways, we're going to go over here, and then, yeah. So, a California woman who fatally stabbed her boyfriend more than 100 times during what prosecutors called a cannabis-induced psychosis has been spared prison time. A judge ruled on Tuesday. The decision drew sobs of relief from the woman and a rebuke from the victim's father. Bryn Specher, 32, was sentenced Tuesday to 2 years of probation, according to Ventura County Superior Court records. Last month, Specher was convicted in 2018 fatally stabbing of Chad O'Melia, a man whom she had been dating for several weeks. So as you can see here, cases actually been going on for quite a bit. And it was back in 2018 that this happened, and now here we are today. Testimony showed she stabbed O'Melia more than 100 times and also stabbed herself, the Ventura County Star reported. After the sentence was handed down by Ventura County Superior Court, Judge David Worley on Tuesday, Specher and her family cried tears of relief. The Ventura County Star reported, while the victim's father said the sentencing set a dangerous precedent. He just gave everyone in the state of California who smokes marijuana a license to kill someone, Sean O'Melia said according to the outlet. And honestly, I have to say I agree. And yeah, so what was I going to say? A lot to take in, but essentially, in my honest opinion, why do actually no, DUI people don't even get that bad of a sentencing. I think I saw one story where there was somebody who Someone who killed a father and children, and his children. And I think only his wife was alive. And she also got off with like no, barely, basically nothing. Like some short time for DUI and killing some people in a crash. What? But I don't know what it is. It seems like case by case, even when there's like mental health involved, we're not really prosecuting and sentencing seems to be a bit off. And I'm saying this because I need to take in. I want you guys to think about 108 times. That is a lot, okay? That means she took it out and put it back in 108 times. And that's, I don't know, I don't care what mental state you are in. That is insane to me. And you know how we say that even when people are drunk or when they're high and stuff and they still do stuff, they say it's still their responsibility. I still hold that same sentiment as well. That same sentiment should be carrying on, especially marijuana. If it was something like DMT, something like that kind of madness, I could be like, well, okay, DMT really messes with your mind, and it can literally take you to a whole like other plane of existence. Okay, that's what DMT does. But marijuana made you want to stab somebody, and you know how although she wasn't drunk, I feel like the same rule kind of applies in some ways. It's like whatever was going on in your head beforehand was basically the drugs basically make it come out. That's how I see it as. And the fact that she got probation, not even like a mental asylum, okay? Probation and 108 times. I don't know what this judge was thinking. Because even if this was a manic episode, this is still someone's life that was taken away from people. And so, to me, when that happens, people at least bare minimum need to be assessed. But they didn't even put in a mental assessment or anything, or go into like a mental institution for like a few years. Not even that. Which is actually like an insult to the man's family, in my opinion. But it just feels like to me at times like mental health is like a cover for everything, for people to get away with all kinds of stuff. I'm not saying every person who does a crime this heinous gets away, but for the one that gets away, you got to ask yourself like what in God's name could prevent somebody from doing something like this again. Anyways, so like I said, this is something at the systemic level that needs to change. And of course, the fact that the judge only gave her probation and she is definitely prone to pulling something like this again. Whew. Like not even a mental assessment or nothing. That's sketchy to me. Like that's insanely sketchy. But we're gonna keep going on with this article because there's a bit more to it. Now, of course, the sentence was handed down nearly 4 years after Spetcher went to Amelia's apartment in Thousand Oaks, where they took multiple hits from a bong loaded with marijuana. The Ventura County District Attorney's Office said in a statement last month, Spetcher had an adverse reaction to the marijuana and suffered from what experts call cannabis-induced psychotic disorder. According to the statement, during that psychotic episode, Spetcher stabbed Mr. O'Melia multiple times, killing him. Police officers who responded to the apartment found Amelia lying in a pool of blood with Spetcher screaming hysterically with a knife still in her hands. Before the officers could disarm her, Spetcher plunged the weapon, a long serrated bread knife, into her own neck, the district attorney said in that statement. Officers used a taser and multiple baton blows before they were finally able to disarm and subdue Spetcher, authorities said. O'Melia was pronounced dead at the scene by paramedics. Spetcher was ultimately convicted by a jury of involuntary manslaughter. The Ventura County Star reported that day, before Tuesday's hearing, family and friends O'Melia marched in front of the county government center, carrying signs that said 108 stab wounds is a serious crime and Judge Worley do the right thing. Spetcher's lawyers, Bob Schwartz, said he was pleased with the ruling. The outlet reported, Judge Worley did the right and courageous thing, Schwartz said. Okay, now that's over and basically our reading session is done. Alright. I'm not going to harp on this too long, but the fact that what's really killing me is 108 times. That number is going to stick with me forever. And it reminds me of that other case. Well, this one actually was dealt properly, but it reminds me of this one girl. I think her name was, what's her face? The name's, it's either, it's like Isabella Guzman or something along those lines. It's one of those things where this girl, This girl is nuts. But essentially, she did something similar. Not that she was in a let's say caravana. Wow, caravana is a festival. And marijuana, she wasn't in a marijuana-induced, psychosis. She was just hated her mother that much, and she like stabbed her what 100 and I think it was 112. I my gosh. But I hear people say that in order to like stab somebody, it's a lot more heartless than to shoot them, because stabbing, you're literally taking it in and pulling it out. You push it in and you take it out over and over and over and over again, especially once you get to like the 100 parts. And I feel like after like 5 stabbings, somebody's just dead. But yeesh. Whoo! Wow. Oh wow. But no, this just tells me that we need to like maybe reevaluate, regardless of mental health, like we should be assessing people to see if they're actually ready to be put back into society. Because to me, it sounds like probation is not really enough for somebody like this. Because not only is she a danger to herself, she's a danger to everybody in whatever community is around her. So we have to be thinking in the greater context of how we could be talking to people, not talking to people, no, how we could be, keeping people safer and talking about safety. Her walking around is not very safe, especially if she hasn't been like cleared by a medical professional, or maybe she has and we haven't been told yet. But as far as I'm concerned, and all the stories that I've looked up on this one, there has been no record of any like mental assessment, which is crazy to me because people like this need to be checked. Okay, everybody needs to check it on their mental health, but people who are prone to this need to be, at least checked out before they can come back. It's the bare minimum I'm asking. Oh Lord, but no, I feel like this sentencing was so cooked just because like just because of like the severity of the crime, and it is my personal belief that your mental health is not an excuse for any action. Okay, I that's just me. And on top of that, you are also responsible for your mental health. It's on you. That's why people say go to therapy. That's on you to go do that. Take it upon yourself, not for someone else to do it. You have the tools available, and she should definitely go get some mental help. It's just to me, like no punishment, and 100 community service hours is also kind of a joke because like that's tough flies in no time. So, oh my gosh, wow. Anyways, yeah, no, this is a crazy one. Hopefully we get some better assessments in the future and better sentencing, because that is insane to me. Whew. Wow. Anyways, if you enjoyed this little video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and follow my socials down in the description below, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.